Hello there.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, everyone. So good to see you all today. Hope you're all having a wonderful Thursday. Thanks for stopping by, as always, to OSS Thursdays. Taylor, how are you doing?
I'm doing groovy. Yeah, still out here in the camper I'm living in Virginia, working at the Afghan resettlement center that they got out here, which is cool. They finally gave me like all the press instructions. So I'm not sure how much detail I can dive into on air. I
Sure,
know, right?
dear.
But before I was just a volunteer, so last week's stream, that's on them. But yeah, no, it's going great. Really happy to be helping the folks, and definitely exciting opportunities for Distribute Aid doing off-base work,
Yeah.
connecting with in-kind donors to support the resettlement efforts and engaging with different community groups for the same purpose.
Awesome. V Prevail says hi.
What up?
Good to see you. No, that's fantastic to hear that it's moving positively and like that. I mean, I hope still be able to be continuing to do these streams regardless.
Oh, totally. Yeah, the stream
Yeah.
isn't the issue. It's just
Okay.
government effort. They want to control the press focus and everything like that.
Gotcha.
So I can still talk about all the Distribute Aid stuff. Just got to keep the stories from that facility under wraps until after my deployment with them, and then
Gotcha.
I can talk about those experiences. Yeah.
Looking forward to hear that.
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm gonna start off by saying, as always, folks, what we do here is every Thursday we do some open source work. I'm wearing, since it's Hacktoberfest, I'm wearing my OSS port hat here, and yeah, this is meant to be a show where we just get together, do some open source hacking. We are joined, as always, by Taylor from Distribute Aid, who's very kindly here to do something a little different today with us. I'm very excited because we're going to be, like, last week we got a pull request close, which was amazing. Like after a couple of weeks of work to get something closed and and good to go was very satisfying. And so what's next now is to just take a little step back and do some project maintainership of Distribute Aid. And we've got a little challenge going that I'll let Taylor fill us in on as well. But folks, as always, if you want to contribute in any way to Distribute Aid's work, do consider checking out their open collective. That is the wrong link. I'm gonna paste it here in the chat. Yeah, they just do wonderful work. It's been incredibly rewarding. And here's our open collective, financially or code. If you can contribute whatever you can, that's super appreciated.
Absolutely. It's definitely a community effort. So getting those Hacktoberfest PRs in is a great way to contribute. Or if you can make a donation, that's very much appreciated. So we're definitely a grassroots organization, and the money in our open collective goes to supporting the core admin costs, which is always a challenge. Yeah.
Yeah,
Should we dive into today's challenge for the audience?
absolutely. Do you want to share your screen or shall I?
Um, why don't I share my screen? That might be, I
Sounds
got
good.
everything pulled up here. So
Excellent.
great. 1 second. Awesome. Cool. Can
Perfect. Okay.
everyone see us? So that's the good part.
1 second, and now it's live.
Okay, so we're focused on Hacktoberfest today and using this session as an opportunity to look at what goes on behind the scenes with project maintenance, how to keep things running smoothly, and how we can improve some of the bits there at Distribute Aid. But we always like to keep it practical. And so what I wanted to start off with was creating an issue. If y'all remember from last time, Ramon and I got that pull request up, and let me just go ahead and pull that up here. So we did a pull request for the page banner component, right? We initially thought that it might be a content component. It ended up fitting better as a section with content in it. So we go look at the files changed here. You see that it's still in that components content folder, and that would make more sense to put in the components section folder. So Ramon and I are going to walk through and create a Hacktoberfest issue for this
Awesome.
fairly simple refactoring. And then if anyone in the audience wants to volunteer to actually get that pull request going, you can either join us on stream or you can work on it in the background. And it'd be really cool to do a code review and merge it in at the end of our session today.
Totally. Folks, if you're watching and you want to and you're feeling brave and you want to come on the show, DM us on either Twitter, or I think you can DM on Twitch, and I'll send you a link and you can hop on the show. Purely optional, no worries. Like, camera's optional, voice is very welcome, however you prefer.
Cool. So let's get started to set folks up, and definitely shoot Ramon a message if you're up for the challenge today. But we
Awesome.
have to create the issue to get started, make sure it's tagged right. So last time we did add distributeaid.org as a Hacktoberfest project, and now I'm going to create a new issue here.
Awesome. Taylor, could I ask you to make it just a touch larger, the text, please?
Totally. How's that?
Perfect. That's wonderful, folks in the chat. If it could be bigger, let me know. Just looking at it from my screen, and just this works great.
Sweet. So it's going to be a refactor issue, and we want to move the page banner. What was that called? I'm going to pull up the pull request again in a different tab here.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually called that specific file the page banner. So
This is awesome. I don't think I've ever created an issue live.
Right. So created the page banner component. We originally thought it would be a contents component, but during the implementation, it made more sense as a section component with contents components in it. So that's kind of the background there. So what do we need to do to resolve this issue? How should we structure this? Now
when I was working on the shipment tracker with Maxime on Tuesday, he did something he had something in his issue that I really appreciated, which was having tick boxes for the different subsections of the issue. And that was great because like I could resolve those little bits and sort of tick them off as I go.
Right on. So we want to move the file, and that's going to end up going in. Here we go. So I'll make this a little bit bigger, and we have our section components all in here. Do we want to rename it? So what's the naming convention that we're using for some of these other? We have like content markdown, content photo, content prezi. We have section stack.
What do you think of something like content banner?
Right, but it's not, it's a section component, right? So probably something like section page banner would make sense, or section banner or something like that.
Yeah, good call.
Awesome. Cool. So we have that move, and then rename the components to section page banner. And it's not really super generalized, right? Like it has some specific styles. It's kind of set up for that top of the page banner thing. So I think leaving it as the page banner instead of a more generalized banner for now makes sense. I'm just adding some tips and tricks for people so that they
That's very
can
thoughtful.
easily think through, what are the actual bits I have to do here to make this issue more accessible to folks who aren't as familiar with our code base or with React and where they might have to update things. Cool. So we like to definitely leave a starting point code C so people can check it out. And the cool thing is because we, after our PRs as part of that pull request review process, we have a code C in the PR. So
That's
we're picking
right.
up where we left off. We can just copy it over. It's super easy.
Brilliant. Yeah, and that way, yeah, because of course, since we already made it, we don't need to re-record it.
Exactly. Now I do want to link to the PR. Do you know how to link to PRs in GitHub?
I believe it's the same way as an issue. So if you use the hashtag and then the number.
35. Okay.
Nice.
Great.
I think those icons are new, by the way. The little icons to show whether it's an issue or a PR.
Yeah, that's definitely handy.
For sure.
What happens if there's an issue and a PR with the same number though, or do they just kind of put it all in order?
Actually, I think the IDs extend to both issues and PRs, meaning that they'll be unique to both.
Right. That makes sense. So it's kind of here's your task list. It can be an issue, it can be a PR, but it's number 35 will always be this PR.
One of the two, exactly.
Yep. Okay. So we have 2 points. We got to move it and update some stuff, especially those imports. We have to rename it and update some stuff, especially within the file. We have our starting point code C. What else might people need to get up and running with this, Ramon?
Bring out the issue, bring out the checkboxes.
Add
Should
some
we?
labels.
Yeah, maybe good first issue.
Yep, help wanted, Hacktoberfest, good first issue, and we don't have a refactor, so we have bug, documentation, enhancement. Should we make a new refactor label?
Yeah, I think so. Or cleanup or refactor, however you prefer.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe.
Yes, of course, V prevails. Very, very, very well said. Don't forget to add your name to the contributors list. Thanks for that, by the way, V prevails. I don't know if you saw,
Yep.
Taylor. We got the framework set up for tests now.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
And it's merged in.
Oh, really? That's so cool to see that happening in the background. I gotta get caught up on that after this.
Yeah. I want to say thank you, V prevails. That was awesome.
Amazing. Was that you, V prevails? That is fantastic. So glad to see you contributing.
I was elated.
Okay, so I'm just trying to find the right color, which I always feel is we have dark green for help wanted, light green for enhancement. We got our purples used there. So maybe as a refactor, I'm going to use this light green. Is that different?
I don't know.
It looks a little bit different here in dark mode.
On my end, it looks pretty similar to the duplicate one, actually, but that could be my... my being bad at colors.
Good call. Let's go with that kind of dark neon green. I don't see that one used. And let's give it a description. So clean up part the code base without changing functionality. Great. And then we can go back. So with our labels, we now have...
did they get unchecked?
I think it was because I didn't save the labels. I went to add a new label. I am glad that our content is still there, though.
It's such a good feature that these things don't get removed, like they get kind of cached.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got a Hacktoberfest, Help Wanted, Good First Issue, and Refactor. Now I can just click off of there. We got our labels. We don't really have a project or a milestone for this one. And let's add another checkbox based on what vPrevail says. Please add your name to the file if this is your first time contributing to the project. Great. So I'm going to submit that issue. Do we have any takers on our uh-oh. Oh no. Please still be there. I'm just gonna copy this.
Good call.
Title. Yeah. So.
Oh, hold on. Refactor. Hold on, Taylor. I think it did get created because I just got an email with it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
I'll copy the content here and go to issues. Oh, there we go. Easy. Cool. So we got some good labels here. And let's just make sure that code C link works.
You know what I'm going to do, Taylor? I'm going to create a banner here. Work on this issue. DM us on Twitch or Twitter. Let me see. Scroll up across the bottom. I'm going to add it now. I think it works. Do you see it? Oh, no, you got it on a different tab. Check out what I added.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's great.
So I'm just going to leave it there.
Sounds good. So the issue is up. Now, the one thing is that we have our Git pod set up, right? And that includes the access tokens for Contentful. And so that's one of the challenges as a maintainer. How do I give those tokens out, right? Because we want people to easily be able to contribute without necessarily providing write access and letting people send data to our Contentful, right? We should be pulling from that as developers, not necessarily pushing to it. Now, most of the time it's fine if I know someone like, hey, here are the tokens that I have, go for it. Especially while we're in this kind of greenfield development phase where not all the content is set, but it's a bit harder to just put those on the internet, right? And eventually we're going to need to refresh those tokens and lock things down once this goes live, just to prevent any unhappy accidents from happening. So how can we approach that bit, Ramon, so that people can actually get this code checked out and get it working? Is there like a way to set up Git pod so we can just share that out with it already pre-configured? Should we look at Contentful and see what the options are for having read-only access tokens?
I definitely think that if we want to make that onboarding as smooth as possible, being able to get the project up and running with a sort of read-only Contentful thing would be handy.
Okay.
I don't know about setting up a Git pod. I think the problem with setting up a Git pod is that it gives it, like if I were to, let's say, put a Git pod there, a Git pod link there, that would give them access fully to my GitHub.
Right. So you don't necessarily, is there a way, I wonder if there's a way to like create a pre-configured Git pod container or make it easy to spin one up. Maybe it's about documenting that so that people can go from 0 to 1 real quick, right? Rather than having yours that you're sharing out.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I've never I can't remember how we did it during the GLMP day, the Global Liquid Programming Day.
I think that people like we're either just sharing your Git pod there, or we were having people spin up their own. So we didn't come up with a great solution at that point.
Yeah. Something to think about.
Yeah.
I'll be giving that some thought as well. But like setting up Contentful for some kind of read-only mode would, I think, already get us well
that would
underway.
definitely let people check out the code and run it locally, and we can just include that read-only in the code base. That's the nice thing, is that everything on Contentful is public, right? That's kind of how we're approaching that. So it's not a problem to have that read-only token in the code base directly. Cool.
Totally.
Should we go for that?
I'm in. Let's do it.
Awesome.
V Prevail suggests I wonder if GitHub Codespaces could provide something. Don't know. Yeah, it's kind of tricky with GitHub Codespaces. I have to admit, I'm not fully knowledgeable on how it works, but I think it's either a beta or something that you need to be opted in for. That you need to be opted in for to be able to use it. Yeah, but I'll admit, like, I have used it because through CodeC we have access to it. But I think it's either a closed beta or like not available to general audiences, as far as I know.
Gotcha. Give me a second here. I'm just signing into Contentful.
Oh yeah, take your time. I was gonna let you know, like, I don't know if you know that you stopped sharing your screen.
Yeah, I just messing with password managers and stuff.
I hear you.
They do the dots, but okay.
Yeah, totally. Just keeping an eye on our DMs in case somebody does reach out to us and wants to work on this live with us. Can also do it in the background if you prefer. It's all good. Oh, I see your screen sharing is back.
Awesome. So we are logged into the distributed landing site on Contentful. And let's just start taking a look through some of these settings. And that's one of the things, while we're focusing on maintainership of projects, it's not just about the code at this level, it's facilitating access. It's getting really familiar with the details of the tools you're using in your stack. So I'd spend as much time configuring stuff or reviewing stuff as I do actually coding. So we got some users here, which is fine. And I set up this Contentful service bot. That might be a good thing at some point, to set up a user specifically to facilitate this sort of open source work. I think right now I'm just going to create the keys on my user. So we have a couple different roles, which is fine. Maybe it's these API keys here. So we have content management tokens. These tokens have the same rights as the owner of the account. And we have personal access tokens bound to the accounts. So this is like my token. This will allow us to manage the content. So we don't want to hand out the content management tokens. We do want the content delivery / preview tokens.
I see.
Yeah. So I'm going to add a new API key. And I believe these might be shared, right? These are going to be shared across accounts. That's fine. Whereas the other ones are tied to me as an editor on Contentful. So DA landing.
Distribute OSS, maybe? Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we have the DA landing OSS contributors access token.
Sorry, Taylor, if I may interrupt real quick.
Yep.
Would it make sense to just tell folks in the audience, if you want to work on this issue and you'd rather not come live, totally fine. Shall we tell them to comment on the issue and say they'd like to work on it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great first step. If anyone's interested, you can comment on the issue, and we'll get you set up to code on it. You don't have to do it live. You're welcome to, but
Absolutely.
you can also just work through some of those changes over the next hour, and we'll try to merge them in at the end of the session, and that'll get you one of your Hacktoberfest pull requests down.
That's awesome.
So leaving a little note here, since I don't go into these settings every day, it might be a couple months between them. I want to remember why I'm creating this token. So naming it is an important part of that, but also, what are the key things? General public, read-only access to our content on Contentful. Okay. Cool.
So, sorry.
Go for it.
So these are the tokens that we'd be putting into the repo which folks could then use to get up and running.
Exactly. And I think we should test that because we do have our your Git pod up and running here. Can we make sure that we can put them in here and go ahead and build the site? And then if we can, that means that anyone else should be able to do it, and we can actually add these tokens to the public repo.
Yeah. So much so that we might even be able to, because that one there, that env development there, that's the one that you've given me in the past with
right.
access. Shall I go ahead and delete it on my end so it's kind of like covertly done?
Let's rename it for now. And
I'll go ahead and rename it.
Cool. Okay. I'm going to go add a new file. You know what? Actually, there's a whole setup script that we wrote here. But I think we might need to change that. Let's try to do this. Great. And since you're not sharing your screen, Ramon, could you copy the structure from our secret development file, and then we can go fill that in and see how things work.
Sounds good. I love that we're doing this sort of. That's the one thing that's super impressive about Gitpod, that I can watch you like on my window typing away. It's really powerful stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
So remove this string, remove this string.
While you're doing that, just to be thorough about the maintainership aspect, I'm going to create a new issue and assign it to us, right?
Should be safe. Should be safe, Taylor.
Sweet.
Just keeping an eye out on all my. I've got like 4 tabs open of DMable stuff just in case somebody does want to join in.
Nice.
I love it because that would also involve rewriting a little bit the README, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and that's an important part. I mean, we're making a change to the development process, and so we need to make sure that the documents and other things are updated there. Again, these sorts of issues, there's a little bit of code, and then there's a lot of maintenance, right?
For sure.
So we're going to call this an enhancement. It can be Hacktoberfest. It's not a good first issue, and we probably don't want help. We need to handle this one ourselves here.
Sounds good.
Cool. So I'm going to submit that. And then I'm going to, yeah, okay, this is the blank one. Let me just clear out some, cool.
Just got the email with the new issue.
Nice. So we always want to start from Saga. That is our main branch. Pull the latest there. And then I will check out a new branch. And that's going to be, what's the issue number? Number 38. Cool. Good to go. So in our new development file, we can commit to source control.
Oh yeah, because it's going to be there the whole time.
Mm-hmm. So we have our space ID, right? So we can go ahead and put that in there. And then our contentful environment, we are using the master environment here.
Oh yeah, I deleted all of that just in case.
All good. So we're not using the preview API right now. I believe that'll involve more setup. That's why we have to publish the content changes on Contentful, and then we can access them in our dev environment. So that might be a good next step. And what we don't want here, we don't want that management token. So we have we can put the delivery and the preview token and just leave the host commented out for now. Cool. So copy those over. That was the delivery, and this is now the preview API. Let's go ahead and save that. And spin up our server, yarn dev. See what happens.
I'm keen to see.
It looks like it's working.
Oh, that's wonderful. So in theory, like for you and me, compared to the work that we've been doing over the last few weeks, not much has changed.
Yeah. It seems like everything is running smoothly. Let's just double check that live.
Yeah, good call. I think it's still building though. Ah, never mind.
There we go. We can see our work.
And now they can, yeah, so they can do that. They can also use code C recordings.
Yeah, exactly. So everyone should be able to create a CodeC account and use their recordings. I think I might need to log in here.
I'm gonna very, very cheekily put up a link there in case folks are interested in trying it out. Open source users is free for CodeC. So if you're interested in trying it out, feel free.
Yeah. Cool. And I'm going to, oh, you know what's interesting though? I didn't save this. So I'm wondering if there might be something that's cached, which is how it was building. So let's just double check. Let's see if we can't remove all of the contentful data and where that lives.
I'm going to go ahead and delete the secret one if I may.
Yeah. Save a copy locally in case we need to, but I have a copy locally as well.
Yeah, no worries. I've got it pinned on my Slack as well.
Nice. Okay. Looks like there's a random where file here as well. Go ahead and remove that while we're at it.
Nice.
Cool. So how do we clear our cache with Contentful? try Google maybe. Maybe it's a Gatsby thing. Clear cache data in dev. Okay, so if I run Gatsby clean, that should remove everything and we'll get a fresh copy. Oh.
Could it be you need to do like maybe what is it? You need to run it from the node modules folder. Can I try something real quick?
Yeah, totally.
You should be able to see it on your screen.
Yep, I'm seeing you type in there. And in the meantime, I'm going to take a look at our
Say clean or cleaner.
clean, I believe.
Give that a try. Check it out. So I know there's a fancy yarn environment way of doing that, or npm or npx or one of these, but I never remember. So I always just pop into like any executable you install with node modules goes
You can
into this
run.
.bin
Nice.
folder.
Yeah. And that might actually be here. Maybe we should add a script for this while we're at it.
Hey, we're improving the onboarding process.
Exactly. So we have dev, we have our build and serve. Now the setup, we'll have to change that because we might not need that setup anymore. We got some Netlify stuff if we want to. We have test, and so let's add clean here.
vPrevail says that maybe we can. It's possible to probably also run yarn Gatsby clean, but very excited about scripts. Same here.
Yep, absolutely. And so, I mean, this was great because we could make sure that it worked, right, with that node modules without having to mess with a bunch of other configuration. You don't want to go through 10 minutes of changing your configuration and updating your docs just to find out that there's some other issue. Now that we've added it, here is a yarn command. We should just be able to try yarn clean.
Let's have a look.
There we go. And we saw it run
Gatsby
clean. It did the same thing. So
wonderful.
That's great. And now let's try to do yarn dev.
Yeah.
Yarn dev again.
Cool. I'm excited. It's nice to be on the other side of this where I'm just watching it happen live on Gitpod from my end.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Nice. And it does look like it is working.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that looks good.
Okay. So going back to wrap up with the dev environment, we have some comments.
Oh, sorry, I'm just very excited. This is wonderful because this means that anybody, like, they no longer have to like DM you and sort of, ask you for those contentful things. We'll see in the README shortly how it used to work. With this, they can just hop in and get started.
Exactly.
And if I'm not mistaken, Taylor, one thing that you're going to have to do is remove the env development from gitignore.
Yep, that's a good point. So let me just finish up with the...
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you.
No, all good, all good. So we have our space ID, our environment, our delivery token. I'm putting this next one, the contentful host and the preview token together because that's not really enabled right now. And actually, just to make that more explicit, let's comment that out. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in a warning. Do not commit the contentful management token this file.
Yeah.
Yep. We can always create a different development environment file if we want that. And I do want to remember should be more explicit here.
This file?
Yeah.
I wonder, Taylor, do you know, I think this is more of a Git question if anybody knows. Can we commit, like remove from git ignore, commit, put it back in git ignore?
I believe so. That would be a good thing to try here.
Because that would mean that, you know, folks can edit it if they wanted, but they don't really have an option, or it's not immediately obvious that they can commit changes to it.
Mm-hmm. There we go. So don't commit it here. It's publicly available. Create a new env file for other environments if necessary. That's our big old all caps warning. Everything else looks good, right?
Yeah.
So I liked where you were going here. I'm going to go back to Bash, and let's just take a look at what's going on. We deleted that randomware file. So let's do that. Make this a bit bigger as well. So we've modified package.json to add that clean command. We're going to make some more changes there. And now from the git ignore, we need to remove the env. So we have our env file, env development, env production. I liked where you were going though. And something cool with Git is we can just go ahead and add this, even though it's ignored.
For real?
Yep, dot development. And so it's going to say force it, right? So add -f. Great. So we can see on Git status here, we've now added that. But if I make further changes, you know, let's say here's a random comment, save that. We go back into a Git status. Okay, it is showing up here, probably because we've added it. So we'll try that after we make this commit.
Yeah.
Make sure it's ignored. I actually love that trick because what I like to do is if I'm creating, let's say, when do I use that? If I'm creating a folder that I want to keep in the repo or something like that, I can create a .gitkeep file and add that gitkeep file explicitly, and that'll keep the folder showing up without creating a bunch of junk. Although I'm not necessarily sure you need to really use git ignore with those. So if there's like a build folder or something else that's generated, you want to ignore everything in it, but you want to physically keep the folder there in the project. You would add your build folder to your git ignore and then create a .gitkeep empty file and use that git add -f to add the .gitkeep file while still ignoring the rest of the directory.
That is handy.
Okay. So what's next? Let's take a look at the README here, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Cool.
Here's a trick, Taylor.
Yep.
Because this is a kind of a VS Code thing, you can preview the markdown right here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So is that how it works? What I usually do is I press Control-Shift-P and then type in markdown, for example. Open preview to the side is what I like to do, but like it's all good. Does that not work?
I am not sure. Maybe I need to like.
My bad. Open preview. No. Go for it. Huh.
Well, it says activating extensions on the bottom.
Oh.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if all the extensions. It's kind of weird though. It lets me. It looks like it's doing it, but I just don't know where it's going.
Give it another try, Taylor. I just tried it on my end and it worked.
Okay. Maybe.
Okay, do me one last favor. Sorry, I'm just
Sure.
super curious about this. Could you try refreshing, please?
Yep. Oh,
Just in case.
all right. One last time here. Oh,
There we go.
now it's going.
Nice.
Sweet. Awesome. So I just want to open that. Oh, because the preview I can't edit, right?
Yeah.
Or can I? Can I edit? No. Okay.
No, I guess not. I don't know. If it's not handy for you, Taylor, like feel free to ignore it. Like I like having the the preview off to the side.
It's great. I'm just trying to create some more space. I do have an external monitor now, which I should get set up. Unfortunately, there's not tons of room in the camper, so I'm going to have to repack
No,
some stuff.
no stress, no stress. This looks great in my opinion. Folks in the chat, if you have any preferences, please let us know.
Absolutely. And it's cool how when I scroll, it keeps them in sync. I like that.
Yeah.
Here we just have some intro to the project, like what are the things. We have our production site, the repository, key documents. I want to go through while we're at this. Let's make sure that project overview is public on our Notion, which I have to log into fun times. But I'll do that. I'll do that later.
Let me see if I'm logged in and I can show it on my screen. Carry on.
Awesome. So development process, we have our code of conduct. That's always another good thing to double check. That's
wonderful.
Notion. And yeah, definitely need to have those for your projects to create safe spaces for people to contribute. But just as importantly, I think it's good to do a dry run with this stuff. Make sure the links work. Make sure the email address to escalate any potential issues, someone's checking that, right? It's too easy to set up something at the start of the project, and hopefully you never need to use it. But if you do, you want it to make sure it works. So we have issues tracking.
Yeah, totally.
Great. PRs, link it to the issue. We're using conventional commits. All good. We have some dev set up here. So this is where things might change. Set up your dev environment. Now, this is the bit I think that we don't need anymore. So we have that setup script. So there's bin, and then there's setup.js. And the only thing this does is it manages our contentful access. We have the delivery token, the preview token, the space ID. It's going to prompt you to put all of those, and then it's going to write out that file that we just edited. So I think we can go ahead and remove all of this and remove this as a step. Here. Just make it so that people don't have to deal with that at all, which is awesome.
Brilliant.
Nice.
This is the markdown equivalent of deleting code.
Yep. And I'm going to go ahead and remove that setup script
altogether.
Bin.js, don't need that. And we can go ahead and remove this folder as well.
Oh, this is going to be one of those pull requests that deletes a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, those are always fun. Now,
satisfying.
Can you do a quick search for me, Ramon, while I keep going through the README here? Let's just do a search for setup.js in the project folders. Maybe not node modules, but anywhere else. I just want to make sure there's not references to that we need to continue to clean up.
Setup.js yields, at the moment, no results.
Great. Good to go then. So now it got a lot simpler. You don't even need to ask for access to Contentful. You should just be able to install the project dependencies with Yarn and run the server right away, and then check it out here.
Wow.
Yeah, that should also
So
make getting a Git pod template going a lot easier. Something to look into offline, maybe.
I can look into that here on the side, just briefly.
Cool. And I'm going to add our new commands. Oh, there we go. Here we go. So crucial commands here. We added yarn clean. Remove cached data from Gatsby, including data pulled in from Contentful. So basically, run yarn clean if you think you might have a issue with your cache. It's giving you old data. It's not giving you new data. Something's wonky. Just delete it and pull everything in. The build time will be slightly longer, but it'll at least show you that there's not an issue with that cache data. Cool. So what's next?
V
Deployment.
Prevails writes, love it.
Love it. Me too. The rest of the stuff, I think, in the README should be fine. We're using yarn. We're using jest. That might be something to clean up now that we have that jest test framework set up as a
Yep.
PR.
Thanks again, V Prevails.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll just go ahead and remove the to-do there. Oh, right.
Are you trying to do it? Yeah.
The preview. Great. And I think we also have code formatting going, right? So that would be a GitHub action.
Really?
Where is that stored?
The formatting, you mean like prettier and stuff, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I think we can remove the to-do for that as well.
Is that a Git hook?
Yes.
Rather than...
Yeah, that would be. Where's the Git hooks? Where did they live?
I don't know where Git hooks are stored. Git hook. Where are they? Where are Git hooks? In the .git folder? Let's have a look.
So see GitHub.
I'm pulling up the Git book.
Hmm.
Did I paste that twice? Nope, just the once.
While you're doing that, I'm just going to take a look at our Git pod here. We have yarn install and then yarn dev. We don't run the setup script there, so that should be good.
Let's have a look. .git. The cool thing is that in the background, I can go ahead, I can sort of step around the project and not get in your way.
Nice. I'm just going to make these consistent by making them all links, TypeScript.
This would be pre or post commit, do you think?
This would be pre-commit. So we're going to make the commit. It's going to run that Git hook, and then it's going to incorporate any cleanup changes, and then finally actually make the commit once that's done.
I don't see, these are all samples I see in the Git hooks. So I don't actually think we have any defined.
It definitely runs though.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. It might be somewhere else.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe it is a GitHub action after all. Ubuntu latest. Yarn cache. Start dev server generative types killed build. Nope, not in the GitHub action. Just take another look at DMs. I don't see any DMs.
You know what? It might actually automatically happen. We're running this pretty quick node module, and that might do it for us. Do you think that could be a thing?
I guess so, but where would we? Yeah, maybe it's like built into VS Code or something, huh?
Yeah, but it definitely runs when I'm using my Sublime text setup.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and just take a look at pretty quick.
Sounds good. I love going off on these adventures to figure out like how these things work.
Cool. So runs prettier on your changed files using source control. And it creates a pre-commit hook using Husky. Okay, so it's using Husky there to do that for the pre-commit hook. So that might be where we need to look. There is a Husky folder here, and here's our pre-commit hook.
There it is.
There it is. So it's using kind of a pre-commit manager, right?
Gotcha. That's what Husky is.
Yeah, so it's going to run Husky's shell scripts, which organizes all of this. And then it's going to run, that'll install, when you download the project, that will install the, jumping around, the pre-commit hook here, which just runs yarn pretty quick on staged files. So anything that we add to our commit, when we go to make that commit, it'll clean those up for us and keep our code base consistent. Cool. So maybe the thing there is, I'm just going to say prettier code formatter via pretty quick node module. Did I spell that right? Pretty has 2 T's?
Yes.
Sweet. Okay, so our README is looking good.
Awesome.
We made a couple of changes here, which I think we can go back and add. Yep. Okay. Ready to commit, or is there anything else you think, Ramon?
Let's see. Updated the environment, the README, the setup is gone. Setup of the where is gone. Package JSON is updated. No, I think we got everything.
Nice.
Folks
So
in
we're
the
gonna
chat, if
call
you have
this-
any opinions as well, we can make another commit, of course.
Absolutely. Let us know if there's something that we were talking about which is not on here. So with directional commits, I'm going to call this a feature, and I'm just kind of indicating there that it's for the dev environment, right? It's not necessarily a code base improvement, but it's DevOps, right? So
Yeah.
we have a feature, say read only contentful API credentials to the code base, update project setup, documentation, related artifacts. Yep.
Hold up. I think there's a typo there. Artifacts, not facts. I could be wrong. Yeah.
Sweet. We're not Indiana Jones going after the ancient artifacts, right? Okay.
Perfect.
Sweet.
That
Go
looks
ahead
good.
and push that up. And it's going to ask me to create the upstream branch. Nope, I got to type it out. Nice. Cool. So now we can go back here. Running that one to myself. Issue looks good. Time to make our PR.
Nice. Mm-hmm.
Sweet. So
Do we need to? Sorry. Do we need to refer to the issue as well?
oh yeah, that's a good point. What's the right terminology here to refer to it? Is it closes or
I either go resolves or fixes.
number 30?
38.
Yep. Good deal. So we got some labels. Hacktoberfest accepted. And I think the rest of that is fine. That's documented on the issue, right?
Yes.
Fine. Cool. So you're probably going to get credit for the commit, so I'll be the reviewer here.
That's fine. That's fine.
All good.
Yeah, just got the email. Oh, you know what? I don't know if you can review your own pull request.
Oh,
But
that's okay. So you made the commit, I made the pull request. You're going to review the pull request.
with the commits that I made.
Yeah, and I'll cite it to myself.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I will. Shall I go ahead then and start up that do that review on my end?
Yeah, but I mean, check it out. We got the code C architecture diagram here showing us the files we deleted. We made some changes and we added this .env .development file.
Taylor, there's more.
Oh, nice.
Check it out. Click on that. Click on that. That's new. This came out like 2 days ago.
Nice. Okay. Give me 1 second here. I got to log in.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. I think you're going to like this one. Looks like one build.
Sweet.
GitHub action for you. You in? Oh, hold up.
I'm in.
Sorry.
I'm in.
You're in. Sorry, I forgot to share the screen. Yes. So you've got this, right? where you can take a look at the changes. But try double clicking on README.
What?
I know,
Oh, so cool.
right?
So cool.
Yeah. So now like we can really keep examine those diffs specifically at a file level,
Mhm.
just as a double click, just to take a look what's there.
Well, and you can, I mean, these files weren't necessarily related to each other, and it's going to be hard for Code C to see a lot of the project configuration. But on other PRs, where
Yeah.
you do have those directional arrows, it lets you kind of step through things in a way that flows with the code, right?
Exactly.
Whereas if we go back on to GitHub, this has always been frustrating. It kind of lists everything alphabetically. So you go through. Mhm. One more time.
There we go.
So if we go to the files changed here, it's hard to say, is this env development file or whatever it is related to which other parts, right? Because you kind of
Exactly.
want to review these changes in logical chunks, but files will be closer or more distantly related, which will affect the order that you go through these. That's so cool. Now,
Yeah.
my one feature request for the stream always
Yeah.
happens if we could get these links to open up in a new tab, so I don't lose my place in the GitHub pull review area. I can just click on them, and it'll take me to a new tab. I can do what I want in Code C, and then go back and maybe leave comments on GitHub, for example.
I'm with you 100%. Like that's something that I'm quite used to that myself. So I'm gonna make a note of that. In fact, as we speak, I'm gonna send that message to the team.
Sweet. Okay.
Just gonna mute myself so you don't hear my clickety clacking.
So Ramon's got to review this. Now, we've been having some trouble with these builds, so I just want to take a moment while we're doing the maintainer stuff. Why is it not building on GitHub?
Cool. Yeah, I'll set up a reviewing for that. By the way, Taylor, I just got an email saying that at the contentful delivery key was exposed.
Oh, yeah.
But I
Contentful probably doesn't want us to put this on GitHub, but we want to put this on GitHub. Are they now blocking it?
uh has detected the following contentful exposed. You have an option to fix this leak.
We don't. We want to leak it. It's weird working on open source, right? The way this is set up, it's very public, which a lot of systems are designed to prevent. But in this case, it's a feature, not a bug.
Yeah, and it's wonderful that they stay vigilant on that.
Yeah.
It is appreciated. I wonder how they detect that. Probably the build process.
hmm Yeah, they probably look for certain like environment settings and stuff like
Whoops.
that.
Didn't mean to kick you off. Oh, this is the one that fails, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm running through this. It's running the yarn build. It's actually pulling all the data, and then it's building pages. And then there's a whole bunch of output from Contentful with all our Contentful data. And then at the end here, type error cannot read property Contentful ID of null. So it's a Webpack type error. And this is in shipment category icon.
Hey, we added that.
We did, but you know what? That might be the file that is giving us some problems, right? Let's go take a look at that, because I thought we tried to add it as a separate thing, and then that wasn't working, so we just made it a function. So we have our shipment category icon.
there's even no. Oh, if you go up, there's a region contentful ID. Line 11.
Okay. So let's see what's pulling in shipment category icon there.
I still want that. I still want that. Like if a build fails, that it generates a code C automatically, a code C recording.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be cool. Like which files, right? Both like
Mm-hmm.
which file is causing the problem, but then what files depend on, or what files does that depend on, right? So that would make it a lot easier right now to go find what uses the shipment category icon. I believe we were working on that as a template for our region page, right?
So I just heard back, by the way, unrelated, from the code C team, from
Mhm.
Maxime actually.
Oh, nice.
uh,
What up,
GitHub
Max?
doesn't. I'll tell him you say hi. GitHub doesn't allow you to have links that open in new tabs
Oh,
for that because this is an automatic bot that adds a comment.
okay. That's weird. I mean, I get it
Mm.
because like the web, the default linking behavior is to click and it'll show you in the current tab, and then you can middle click or right click to open in a new tab, right? So that's kind of been the standard back in the day, and that's the default behavior. It's just not as useful in my opinion. Sometimes it is useful to have that default when you're trying to look at two different things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Like,
okay.
no, I mean, it's a good question to ask. And I wonder if there's a way we can document that moving forward.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you.
So
I like opening stuff on new tabs.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely. That's why I have like 100 of them open all the time, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking
I
at
feel you.
line 11 here, which is, yeah, it's right here. And it's going to be,
So it looks like the region is null and we're trying to reach in.
mhm.
Do we want to put in a optional chainer thing?
Yeah, from subregions or none.
It looks like we might have a subregion without a region. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
let's maybe take a look in Contentful, because this might actually be more of a data thing. Like I kind of want it to break rather than hiding data issues. And maybe it would be better to have this in our tests, right? We could do a test where we pull all the subregions from Contentful and make sure that they do in fact have a region. But let's just investigate since we're on it here. So content type is going to be subregion, and the status can be any. So here are our subregions.
I'm happy to say that I can remove this banner.
Oh, that's fun. Let's see, region. There we go. Oh, this is handy. So we have subregions, we have regions. Okay. It looks like there are a couple of subregions without regions, but those are all in a draft state. Those haven't been published yet. So
I
let's
hope
go.
it's fine. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go for it.
I hope it's fine. I went ahead and assigned the issue on GitHub to the person who volunteered.
That's amazing. Thank you, person who volunteered. Uh,
uh, uh, if you're waiting, like if you're watching mysterious volunteer, if you're waiting for the project setup thing, let us merge this and you should be good to go.
um,
Sorry, didn't mean to derail us.
no, all good. And so this is failing for where we work, Greece.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just trying to figure out, because I'm not seeing why that would fail. It's kind of working for us when we do it here, right? Let's go ahead. We have our workspace. I want to kill the server real quick. Because we're not seeing any issues when we actually load that page here. Right?
But I wonder.
And on maybe let's take a look at that query.
Taylor, could it be that the data coming in during the build process is different for production than an environment? Could it be that it's building the production one as opposed to the development one?
Yeah, that would be interesting. So let's take a look at, there's got to be some sort of build file that controls this, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would that be? GitHub build.yaml. Okay. So we have a build. It's going to run now. Oh, it's the preview environment. That's interesting.
Which is different from the development one, right?
But the contentful environment is still master. That's the same. But yeah, the preview environment, that might be the issue. This is interesting. So in this build script, we do have our contentful management token, but that should be fine. This is all set up on GitHub, right? These secrets here.
Yeah.
So that's something that we can control securely. And we might want that at some point if we need it.
So it's failing because it's probably pulling in different data. Do I understand correctly?
Maybe. I'm not sure the difference between environments in this YAML file. From contentful, it is pulling that in from the same environment, right? If we go look at that development, it's still the master environment. It should be the same space ID. Oh, where did it go? Okay, and it's actually echoing this stuff to .env.development. So it's writing these to that development file.
Ah,
And then it's starting the dev server.
right. So could we in theory? Oh wait, this is to be able to run the production code, right?
This is to run
Eventually.
the GitHub actions, maybe for the production code, but right now it's definitely starting like a dev server. So I think this is about setting GitHub up.
Gotcha.
This warrants a little bit more than we have time left for, I think. We got 7 minutes left, and I believe that either Maxime or Marcus might have set this up. So probably good to check in with them because it's doing a little bit of complicated stuff, and I am not an expert with GitHub Actions, but I think we definitely made some great progress today.
I think so. I can
Oh
also
yeah.
help take a look, by the way.
Oh yeah, that would be great. Let me flag this on our Slack after the stream ends here. So where are we at? This is a ongoing issue, and I think we can go ahead and merge our PR in at this
Shall I
point.
go ahead and review it first?
Yep. You want to switch over to your screen?
Yeah, I'm going to do that right away.
All right.
So now we should be able to see my screen. I see here I'm in the pull request from Taylor. That changes 5 files. Let's, this aims to resolve issue 38, which is the read-only contentful repo token. And let's have a look. So we've added the env development file. That looks good. One thing I learned recently is that I can click here. I learned this from Maxime. This is just a super handy feature.
Yeah.
Removing the yarn setup, adding the yarn clean instructions, updated.
I just updated some text there.
Text,
how it's formatted. Yep.
Nice. Static site generator looks good. That's viewed. Setup.js was deleted. Fantastic. Always a fan of deleting code. Setup script is gone. The clean script is in.
Mm-hmm.
And empty file is now gone. So that's 5 out of 5 reviewed. Looks good. And I approved. Looks
Great
wonderful.
job, myself.
Great job, me, myself, and Taylor.
Nice.
There we go.
Great.
Approved. Submit review. Now I think I'm going to have to hand it back to you, Taylor, because I don't
have to use my super admin. It looks like you can squash and merge even with those checks failing.
Do you prefer squash or rebase and merge?
I think only squash and merge is enabled for the repo.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. Gotcha.
I don't care as long as it's consistent. To be honest.
So I'm going to merge in a pull request that you opened co-authored by me. So that should be done.
Yep.
Perfect.
Great.
And if I'm not mistaken, the issue should be automatically closed as well. So
it is.
Fantastic. That means, folks, if you want to get started in contributing to Distribute Aid, it has now become much, much quicker for you as an onboarded contributor, which is super exciting.
Absolutely. And hey, thanks for your patience with that issue. It was something that we definitely needed to do to make this much more accessible and open, because DMing the project maintainer for the credentials is not something that's scalable, and that's what code is all about, right?
Totally.
It takes away a whole barrier on both ends. Something that takes up my time, that wasn't well managed, that was difficult to track who had access to what, and lets you just jump in, dive in right away, which is, as a maintainer, what we like to see.
And I think by making this like a read-only state for it gives you as a maintainer the peace of mind to be able to let folks just have at it and go from there, right?
Yeah. And the nice thing is, with this solution, I'm not sharing out a different, more secure key. It's just there. So I can go ahead and delete that management token that I'd previously shared, and that'll just revoke access on the management token side from everybody. But that's fine, because they don't need that anymore. They pulled the latest from Saga, and they're good to go too. So kind of the update process for existing contributors should be fairly straightforward.
Brilliant. Cool. Wonderful. Well, we're actually finishing with a couple minutes to spare today, which is good. I think we've done good today. So I'll go ahead and start wrapping up. Just want to say, folks, thank you so much as always for joining in. Thank you for volunteering to take on the issue that we created at the beginning today. And Taylor, as always, thank you so much for being on. I'm going to go ahead and plug again the Open Collective. Distributed is doing amazing things, and I'm so grateful that I get to do this with you every week. It's one of the highlights for me.
Oh, so, absolutely. I mean, this is, it's like it's fun for me to code, and I don't get that much time to do it. So coding
Yeah.
with a friend, and more
Yeah.
importantly, showing other people what Distribute 8 is about and how to tap in and get involved is a real joy. And so thank you, Ramon.
Yeah, no, and we're seeing we're seeing it come in. Folks are starting to take
Yeah,
on issues. People are starting to contribute and make PRs. This is great. This is great. It's just,
absolutely.
and it's I'm elated. This is an honor. So thanks
It's
a
a
lot,
ton of
Taylor.
fun. And
Yeah.
if y'all notice anything else that I can do as a maintainer to help you, we very much, you don't need permission to do good things in the world, right? That's something that we tell ourselves all the time on the logistics front. Like, let's just get that truck going. I think that applies to coding as well. Now, obviously, with coding, there's lots of administration who can create an issue, who can review a PR. We have a problem with our GitHub Actions build pipeline. Do I need to go in and use that super admin to like just run that PR through? Whatever it is, just hit me up on Twitter at Borderless Dev, and
Oh.
let's make this easy for you to contribute. I might not always see everything as a maintainer because I'm logged in. I have, that admin account, whatever it is, but it's my job to empower you to make those contributions. So please do raise any issues with me.
Trying to plug your Twitter and I failed at it. There we go. Yeah, go ahead and get in touch with Taylor. I mean, you can already tell from the show he's a wonderful person. So totally reach out.
Cool. I think
Awesome.
that's it.
Well, yeah, I think we're good. Well, folks, wish you a wonderful rest of your Thursday. Taylor, a great start to your day.
Yep.
Let's see, it's 1 p.m. for you?
Yeah, should be just
Oh,
about one. So halfway through.
halfway through. All right. All the best, everyone.
Cool.
Have a good
Take care,
one.
y'all.
Bye-bye.